I think that's really, it's sad, it's interesting, it's all those things. But as we've kind of seen, there's a lot of tragedy kind of yields these kind of experiences, it seems. But
Right.
so whatever was going on with her, that was kind of one of the first tragedies there that the hotel suffered. But what I thought was super interesting, there's some other things they started to notice throughout the years that they would see and hear kids, right? And there was no reported deaths of children here. But what they found as they started to look back on the site where the school was built, it was actually an old school. And the funny thing is, it's not funny, I guess. The odd thing is, I gotta check my words when I start talking about death, I guess. The odd thing is that a lot of the school that was there before was wiped out during the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic.
Wow.
So a lot of the kids that went to school there had died, right? And so they had an original schoolhouse, one of the first adobe schoolhouses there. Then they had built a more kind of modern school for the time, and it's like crammed full of kids. And then all of a sudden, all the kids are dead. So then they're like, we don't need this school anymore. They demolished the school basically. And then years later, they built a hotel on top of it.
That's crazy.
And then going even farther back, they claim, and I don't want to speak to too much of this because I'm, again, completely ignorant of the fact of what the land actually was, but they claim, as they do with in so many situations, it was sacred Native American, some type of ground. And that's a really good possibility here in Arizona.
It is.
Who knows, right? I don't want to speak to that because I really don't know, but that's what they claim. But yeah, I thought it was really, really interesting, this story of Miss Jensen in particular, though. She spent a lot of her final hours writing notes to people. She sent a telegram. She did a couple other things. She basically planned her own funeral. So one of her letters that I kind of just now get into, but she basically said this. She said, "Bury me in a tan dress and high heel slippers." She basically said, "Play near my God to thee," and then finished her last note after her funeral request with "Goodbye and good luck. Think of me kindly." That was it. And again,
that's creepy.
You start to see these kind of ghost stories. So I started going through and I started criddling some more of the internet, as you do, as you start to look around for these type of things, right? I've never been in this hotel. It makes me want to go stay the night there now, a little staycation, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
But if you go through, and I've looked through room 720, so she came off the 7th floor, so there's a rumor that she might have came out of room 720. Right, and I'm sure we could probably look and see what room she was in, but you can find there's different things. People like having the one I'm looking at right now, just glancing at on TripAdvisor.com. It's just going on saying these people just had an awful nightmare in this room, and that people had stuff waking them up, and you can just kind of go through and just find different things. Where it's like great hotel, but it's haunted, right? You find all these different things.
Well, see, even though Phoenix is new, it is a lot of Native American stuff out there. And even out here, there was a lot of Native Americans. I remember when they were building the highway to Tazewell, there's rumors that they're building it over a burial site where they buried Native Americans and people from, the Civil War. Everybody's like, oh, whatever. They dug up a coffin. And it was this woman, when they opened it, there was claw marks on the inside of the coffin because she wasn't actually dead.
Yeah.
And her, bones were broken on her fingers. I guess where she clawed so hard and stuff.
And that's one thing that you bring that up. They're kind of going towards Tazewell at the old fort. There's an old, really where the area is at there, where I don't even remember that. Is it Crab Orchard? Crab Orchard,
yeah.
So there's an old historic fort there in Tazewell County, where Cheyenne's at, and it's called the Crab Orchard Fort. And where the fort was actually up higher. It was up in the hills there a little bit. The place where they have kind of this historic frontier land fort thing wasn't actually the fort, right? They've kind of put stuff there now, but there was a battle that was fought there from what I understand. And I could be butchering this. But when they started digging and doing stuff there, they found lots of bones, lots of bodies, because there was just people that, unfortunately, Native Americans that were shot, killed, and left, just kind of there and absorbed into the earth, But yeah, it seems you find that, right? I mean, it seems that you find that in certain things, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a burial ground.
Maiden Springs, that was a battle site.
Yeah. And it does, even like speaking here, it could have just been sacred for a reason, right? It might have not been some type of burial, anything, right? It could have just been like, this is important stuff to us. And then now, we come build this stupid school here.
Now we dig it up.
And now the school's gone. We have another school, and then you have a pandemic and a bunch of kids die. And then, okay, now we get rid of that school. Now we throw up a hotel, and this lady kills herself. And there's some other tragedy kind of surrounding the hotel.
Where you guys are going on a road trip out there, me and Misty need to do like a road trip on this side with y'all.
You should, and then we can do the same thing.
Martha, Washington, go to Whitaker Ridge and all that. You
totally should, and then so for those folks that haven't heard this yet, again, go check out the websites. You can go to palehorsemediaco.com. You can go to my own website. You can basically go to any of the sites that we have out there and find it. If you just look under events, it's pretty much you'll find it. But we're doing this kind of road trip where Jarrell and I are going to hit 3 really haunted spots here. And then we're going to basically, you can sign up and you'll get like a little link in your email where you can tune in and do it live with us. Right. So we're going to go do like our own little thing, and we can do it all live together. And if people out there listening want to hang out with us, they can ask questions. We're going to do like a spirit box session. We're going to do the whole thing, which is going to be a blast. And then we'll have it on the podcast too, obviously. But so, yeah, I think that'd be awesome to do something very similar to that there, to where you guys could go, we could Skype in, and then we could just, we could podcast on location at certain super paranormal areas.
All get scared shitless together.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super good. I think it's super good because we're going to Tombstone. Tombstone's one of the most notorious haunted places in the country.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I do believe there's been a lot of history at Tombstone.
Lots of.
I mean, if you have that much bloodshed and like deceit and just crazy shit happen, there has to be like.
Well, the crazy thing about Tombstone is that it wasn't even any town back then, whether it was west or east, was violent.
Right.
In the West, you took a law into your own hands more often because there was one marshal for God knows how many thousands of miles. But Tombstone wasn't really like a bang, bang, shoot 'em up town. It was more mining deaths. It was a lot of people died in mines here.
But like Tombstone in this area, people believe if you dig down into the earth, you release stuff.
Well, if you think about there, right, you think about the tragedies that surrounds mining there, the history of mining. It was the same. It was the same in Tombstone, right? I mean, you think about even the tragedy nowadays in coal mining. It was the same. It was the same in Tombstone.
We've had recent ones.
Oh shit! It blew up and it killed everyone in town. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit! It blew up and it killed 30. It killed 3/4 of the male population of the town. Like it was just bad. So we're gonna be checking that out, and we're going to Bisbee. So kind of the big reveal here. I guess this is a reveal because I don't think I said where we're staying yet. But in Bisbee, we're staying in the Copper Queen Hotel,
so excited.
Which is one of the, if not the, I know it is the oldest still operating hotel in Arizona. I heard, and I haven't verified this yet, but if it is not the oldest, it is one of the oldest continuously operating hotels in America. It is not stopped operating for 100 and some years. So we're going to be going there, and we're going to be staying there, and we're going to be breaking out the spirit box there, and we're going to be doing.
I'm so excited.
Jarrell sounds so excited. Jarrell gets to get possessed.
I bet you I am going to be the one possessed. I'm like the most likely one to be.
Well, see, like Misty, they picked a pure one, Jarrell. You're too pure. You're Misty.
That's why I'm so scared.
It's going to be great.
You miss like in the corner holding hands, and me and Sam just be like, "Come fucking get us!" Not me.
I'm excited for it. It's gonna be.
I would have been like that back in the day, but not since the Adam shit. I'll tell you that.
I'm like that. I'm like that meme, right? Where like the demon possesses your body, and it's like, oh, everything hurts. What's wrong with you? It's like, yeah, it's welcome to my life. Like the demon leaves.
My demon comes in like, you live like this.
So that was my story about Hotel San Carlos in downtown Phoenix. So if anybody's in Phoenix and you're looking for a super haunted place to stay, there you go. That would be it.
That was pretty good.
Anybody on
that?
You need to stay at the Martha Washington. There's been. I need to research more stories on it. So it's been a whole lot of like, we see this, we hear that, but I want to know the history of it.
So I did the first pilot episode that I threw out when we first started this thing, before we even kind of coordinated and started doing, planning this thing. When I just pulled together the test episode, the pilot episode, I did it on stuff around Abington a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the Martha was one that I talked about a little bit. Some
The tavern.
from the Martha, the tavern, the barter. And
there's a picture of our, what is he to us? Like great-great-grandfather or something like that?
Great-grandpa something. Yeah, he was Gordon,
there's a picture of him in the tavern. He got shot in the tavern. Tried to walk to the courthouse, which are like across the street, 3 things down, and died on the steps.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to go back and listen to the very first episode, I talk about that a little bit. And he basically did that. He was basically, the Civil War had just kind of cooked off. Everything was done, He was chilling out, just rolling out. He was a Confederate lieutenant and just like, I'm just going to hang out here at the tavern. And apparently he was banging some dude's wife, too, on the side. And then the dude found out about it and decided to fight him. And this guy apparently had the reputation of carrying a gigantic bullwhip on his side. So think like Indiana Jones, bullwhip, right? And he basically beat the fuck out of this dude with his bullwhip. And then dude's like, well, I'll fucking show you. And like, taking my ball and going home. And like ran home. But instead of coming back with a ball, he came back with like a musket and shot him. It's like, oh yeah, bullwhip, beat this motherfucker. Take a mini ball to the chest.
Just when he's packing it down, don't you fucking move. It's going to be ready in a minute.
Yeah, let me give me 10 minutes and I'll finish it off. We made it to the courthouse steps though and died. So the courthouse steps part, I don't know the truth of that, but that's what I always heard growing up too. Was kind of that. Yeah. He did get shot there. That's factual, and they claim he haunts there.
There's a picture of him in the tavern and everything.
Yep, Gordon Wright. Yeah, that's one of the oldest. I think that's one of the oldest still standing buildings in the state. Mm-hmm. It was built in 1770.
And it looks old. They have it up. It's still that big cobblestone brick.
79, I think. 1779, 1778.
It's something in the late 1700s.
I think it was 1779, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. It was right there. It was built right around the Revolution. Like it was there. So pretty wild times. So what do you got, Jarrell? What do you want to throw in there?
Oh, my turn?
You gonna throw some stuff in there?
Nothing too interesting. Well, it's I wanted to pull from the Philippines. Like they have a lot of different beliefs. Yeah. And the Filipinos are very superstitious.
That's it's like racist.
I'm Filipino. I have the right to do that. So no, like the Philippines is it's a very Catholic religions country. Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
And Catholics tend to be superstitious too.
Yeah, like they're super superstitious, and I just hear a lot of stories from like my parents, especially my mom. She was Catholic before she converted to Christianity, and then listening to stories from her sisters and brothers. But yeah, there's a lot of different ghosts in the Philippines. So there's one thing that I chose. It's called the Tiyanak. I know it sounds weird, but if you want to Google it, it's like Tiyanak. I heard a lot of stories. Like this one stood out to me because my mom would tell a lot of stories about it when she was younger, and with her friends. Like it was just like a real, I don't know, ongoing thing. So it's the Tiyanak. We call it the Tiyanak. It's a vampiric creature in Philippines mythology that imitates the form of a child. It usually takes the form of a newborn baby and cries like one in the jungle to attract unwary travelers. So,
a lot of demons do take that's why a lot of ghosts are kids, because they do that, kids and women, to gain trust and stuff.
Right. I think that's what they use. But like in reality, I mean, like the truth or the reason behind the Tiyanak thingy is it's a really old demon in the form of a man that represents himself as a child.
Cute.
Or something. I don't know. That's what it is. Let's see. Like the Tiyanak is also depicted to take malevolent delight in leading travelers astray or in abducting children.
Not cute.
It's not. If you Google it, they look really scary. Like so the Tiyanak is like
Tiyanak. Is it Tiyanak?
Tiyanak. You got to use your, take out that.
Yeah.
Andy,
the Tiyanak.
No, but Tiyanak looks like a 2-year-old baby. Has like red eyes, long nails,
super cute,
sharp teeth.
I would shit myself. Like if a baby came in, I'd fucking karate kick in the face.
No, like my mom would tell me, like, because I used to live in the Philippines for a little bit, and we lived in, like, not the forest, but like we were surrounded by a lot of trees,